It's so rare we get a chance to have you address Detroit-specific questions, so I want to ask you a few. As the commissioner of the league, how important is it for a team and a market like Detroit to be successful? This is a team that's lost more than 75% of its games since 2000. Does that trouble you?
Well, I think it's important when you look at the Lions. You know, they have a long tradition in the NFL, but I really think it's where the Lions are going. When you look at what the Ford family, Bill Sr. and Bill Jr. have done to put the right people in place, Tom Leyden and Martin Mayhew, Coach Schwartz, the entire organization, and then they've brought some great young players into the organization, Matthew Stafford and Calvin Johnson and Dominican Sue. They've got some great pieces that are going to be tremendous players in the league, and I think this franchise is positioned to do extremely well. And I think it's a tribute to their commitment to winning, and I think it's the future that Detroit Lion fans should look forward to with optimism.
Well, as you can imagine, this entire region exploded last week when the schedule was announced and they saw that on October 10th, the Lions will be hosting a Monday night football game. In a way, I think fans view that as a stamp of approval that the league says, all right, they've been doing the right things the last couple of years and now we're going to put them in prime time. Is that a fair interpretation from the fan base here in Michigan?
I think it is a fair interpretation, Tom. I think it is a recognition of the Lions have great young players, an organization that's moving forward, and high expectations. And they're actually on national television in the preseason against the Patriots, and you mentioned the Bears game, and of course we have the traditional Thanksgiving Day game against the Packers. So there's a great opportunity here for the Lions and their fans to be on a national stage, and we think they deserve that.
The Thanksgiving game is always a hot-button topic. You don't hear it because you're not here, but just turn on the local sports talk radio. And the tradition of the Thanksgiving game and the security of that game here in Detroit is always brought up. How does the league view that Thanksgiving Day game, and is that something that you think would stay here in Detroit for a long time coming?
Well, you know, it's not getting a lot of discussion at the league level, and I think it's because, you know, we've tried to approach the Thanksgiving Day game by balancing tradition and innovation. We recognize the great tradition it has in Detroit and in Dallas, and I had the opportunity to be there a few years ago in Detroit for Thanksgiving Day game, and I recognize the importance of that. We tried to add on to that tradition. This year we'll have a Thursday night Thanksgiving Day game on the NFL Network with the Harbaugh brothers playing each other. So we're going to try to build that tradition by adding more teams into the rotation, and I think that'll to make that Thanksgiving Day football even better for NFL fans.
I will tell you, I had the opportunity to watch last year's Thanksgiving Day game against the Patriots as a fan. Don Shane gave me the day off. I took my entire family down there, and experiencing it that way, as a guy from the East Coast, you could just sense, even on the drive into the stadium, that this is the lifeblood of this region, and everyone really gets a kick out of that entire tradition of going down there, watching the game, coming back, and cooking their turkey. So please, don't ever take it away from these people in Detroit.
Well, Tom, I accept that because you know, having the experience of taking my family to Detroit for the Thanksgiving Day game, I sense the same thing. And I'm a fan at heart of the game. And when you see the tremendous fan base in Detroit and what that game means to them, I certainly understand that.
I have been reading via Twitter, via a number of different blogs, that you've been holding conference calls with fans across the country over the course of the last few weeks. What can you tell us about those conference calls? What do you take away from them? And do you plan on maybe having one here in Detroit to talk to Lions fans?
Well, Tom, it's not just over the last few weeks. Since becoming commissioner, I think it's important for me to talk directly to the fans, to be able to reach out to them, hear from them, answer their questions directly. And we do it in a variety of forums. We have what we call a fan forum, where I'll meet with anywhere from 100 to 200 or 300 fans at one time and answer their questions. We do it on NFL.com chat. We do it in a phone conversation, which we have done recently in the last few weeks, and I have I think 10 or more to go, and they're fun. I enjoy it because I get that interaction with the fan and understand what's on their mind, and hopefully be able to address some of the issues that they have on their mind.
What about the Super Bowl? We're now almost 5 years since Detroit hosted Super Bowl 40. I think around the country, everyone thinks that this region did a great job welcoming the world. Now we're looking at maybe a 10-year span between Detroit having their last one and maybe having another one. Is Detroit in the mix for future Super Bowls?
Well, you know, Tom, one of the things that's happening with the Super Bowl, it's become so popular and so large and so competitive. You know, communities around the country are seeking the game. New stadiums are being built that elevate the competitiveness of the stadiums. Detroit did do a fantastic job. I don't know if they're planning on getting in the mix, but if they do, I think they have certainly, as you say, a very good basis, because the 2006 experience was a great one.
Before I let you get out of here, I wanted to get your thoughts on the second round, I believe, is when you're going to be bringing up various legends from around the league to announce the draft pick. That's a really cool innovation this year, and no surprise who the pick is here from Detroit.
Well, there is no surprise. You know, Barry Sanders is one of the great ones in the NFL, and clearly in the Lions tradition, a super player and a super guy. And we're proud to have some of the great NFL alumni coming back to participate in this year's draft. We had several greats participate in last year's draft, but the entire second round is going to have these great players make the selection, and for each of the teams that selected them. And I know you're proud to have Barry Sanders, and I think it'll be a great thing for the NFL.
Commissioner Goodell, we certainly appreciate you giving us some time during what's a very tumultuous couple of days. I speak for millions when I say get this thing done. We all want football, and we want it as soon as possible. Thanks a lot for the time.
Thanks, Tom.